We have head coach Bucky McMillan along with student athletes Logan Dye and Jermaine Marshall. Coach, an opening statement, then we'll take some questions.
Man, our guys were awesome in that game. You know, I know we didn't come out on top, but our guys played unbelievable. You know, they shot 54% from three, made 15 threes, and we took a lead there under a minute left in the game. That never happens. That never happens. Right? Most time if you play a team in a tournament game, they make 54% of their threes and make 15 threes, it's a 20-piece and you're on the bus. Right? And you watch our guys in that game not quit, not give in, fight back like they have all year long and take the lead in that game. They just happened to make one more play than we did. And if you really rewind those plays in that game, the plays that they made, whether it was a big three or Jake Stevens, a late clot, 1-footer, it feels like we blocked it and he still makes it anyway. You know, that was high-level basketball. High-level basketball. But, you know, you can't always just be so result-oriented and just look at the scoreboard and think, oh, we didn't play well or this or that. You know, we battled. We obviously, this man right here, Logan Dye, was phenomenal. He hadn't been able to practice in 2 weeks. We weren't even sure if he'd be able to play with his knee injury. When we saw the first layup, we watched it, and I was worried that was going to be it for him. You saw Quez not be able to continue in the game with the hurt knee, and that wasn't going to make our guys wilt in the game. So credit Chattanooga for playing really well. If they play like that, they are, as they're predicted with the full roster, as good as anybody in the league. We're as good as anybody in the league. Furman's as good as anybody in the league. Greensboro can be as good as anybody in the league. And anybody on a given night when they're shooting it well is a very capable team in this league. But I don't think this was much us losing the game. I thought Chat just made one more play than we did, and they deserve a lot of credit. If they play like that, they're going to be a dangerous out in the tournament. I think any time in this tournament, I don't know if you can find many teams, if they make 54% of their threes, make 15 threes, that they're going to come out on the losing side. I just don't think that's going to happen very often. Most of the time, though, it's going to be a double-digit victory. So that says something about these players right here for what they did in that game, to fight, to show the heart, to come back in that game. You know, Jermaine Marshall, you saw him, plagued with foul trouble, but, you know, he's never going to wilt in a game. Just not going to happen. And just to see these guys will us right back into that game was phenomenal. Play of the game on their part was Jamal Johnson made a big three. When we got it, we went up 2. We were trying to not allow threes, and they got one off, and he made it a 1-point game. Our guys were poised. We got it where we wanted to. They're late in the game. It just didn't happen for us at the very end. But awesome game, and I want to say this: our players right here. I know a lot of people at Samford are really proud of these guys right here. I don't care if you know basketball, you don't know basketball. If you don't know anything about basketball, you can watch those guys play, and you could say, man, those guys have heart. They have a lot of heart. And I'm just really proud of them, and really proud of them.
Questions from the room? Just raise a hand. John?
Jermaine, you had an amazing night tonight, 27 points, but I felt like your emotion really kind of got your team back in the game maybe when times weren't going good. Could you just speak to that and how you were able to kind of motivate them throughout to where you guys did get a point to where you were able to make the run?
That's just what I do. I just play with full of energy, and that's what the team needs to bring. And even we down or up, I just know I need to bring it every time. And they feed off my energy. So I know when they feed off my energy, I know I got to get us going. And that's what happened. Even though shots wasn't falling at first, I still got to get us going. I got to go try to grab a rebound, go try to set a good screen, get a teammate open, make a good pass. So I just got to keep being like a leader on the floor without everything going my way, get everybody else involved.
More questions?
Logan, and this is partially true of Jermaine too, it's not often in basketball today that you see big guys square off like you and Jake Stevens. I'm sure you were hurt. He has been hurt this year, but I'm sure that was, you didn't win the game, but that was quite a contest. That was quite a hard on both sides.
Yeah, Jake's a good player, as you know. He was projected a preseason player of the year, and I think if he doesn't get hurt, he's right there to win it. But I knew going into this game he was going to be ready to shoot. I mean, he took this game just as personal as I did. I feel like I was right there, like when we're playing, all of us have this chip on our shoulder like we're the best player in the league. So, I mean, with much respect to Jake, I've played against him all 5 years. I know how good he's got, and it's just like every year we get to go against each other. We look forward to it because we know what kind of game it's going to be. And I don't know if y'all could tell, but like we're going back and forth. We just keep talking to each other like, come on, like, right back at you, like stuff like that. So he's a good player, really good player to have. But like Coach said, I think if they keep playing like that, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him holding that trophy Monday night. So I genuinely believe that the two teams that were on the floor tonight are one of the teams that could have won the league. So I think it's huge to have Jake back, I mean, he hasn't played all these games, so maybe his wheels are still good and he can still go. But I think towards the end I started breaking down. Everybody kind of wore out, so much respect to them, hitting a big shot. Wish I could have made that free throw. Maybe things would have been a little different, but it's just how it is.
Front row.
Coach, like you said, Chattanooga shooting 54% from three. There's good looks in there, but there's also, Jamal Johnson shot's a tough shot, Jake Stevens at halftime. Was there anything you felt like, defensively y'all were doing wrong, or was it just a tip your cap situation?
Early, we just didn't find Jamal. Like, I don't know why we were closing down like we closed down. We talked about he can't get the ball up, and so it kind of got him going. We had a couple of times we're there, and we just don't get our hand on the ball, I mean, so some of that has to do with, you're late on rotations because you're having to help out on Jake a little bit, But at the end of the day, I would say out of 3 of his 7 threes, they were really tough ones. And I would say out of Jake's 21 points, how many times did he make a tough one or it seemed like a dagger, right? And I think most teams it is a dagger, but not to these guys right here. They're going to come back and keep grinding away. But yeah, 15 threes, I don't care if you're playing out there by yourself, shooting that high percentage is tough,
Time for a couple more. John?
Hey, Logan, on the steal early, it looks like you have a breakaway, easy 2 points. Did you slip, or did it happen when you planted to go up for the shot?
Like Coach said, I hadn't been practicing, so obviously when the game started, I think the rhythm and like my adrenaline kind of was really pumping. So as you normally would go for a routine dunk, you miss a step, miss a beat, so you might jump too early or something. But my knee kind of gave out, scared me, and then obviously the rhythm was off. So I was praying that I went back in the tunnel. I was like, well, maybe we can get this thing worked out. The training staff done a good job getting me back out there, stretching me, doing everything they can, and then I had to continue to get loose. So I mean, when you take off 2 weeks, it's kind of weird when you come back out there. But I was just glad I could come back out there and play.
Back of the room.
Coach, I know it's hard to think about tonight, but think about this season, taking another step forward with this program. 20 wins, regular season championship, coming in here as a 2 seed. Talk about the future of Samford basketball as you've been developing it.
Well, these guys right here that you're sitting up here, when I got the job, got Jermaine Marshall back to Birmingham. I've known both these two guys since they were in junior high. I've known them a very long time, and I've known Quez Glover since he was in high school, right? And these guys that had the season that they had will always be remembered for bringing the first Southern Conference championship to Samford, And we want to make that a regular thing. I think I sat up here last year and said that we're going to get to the top of this league and we're going to stay there. And that's what we want to do. I think that if you're in the top of the league consistently, then you're going to have these chances in this tournament to make that run, And I think we had that chance this year, right? And that's what we want to do. That's what you call a program, right? A team that's consistently rolling. A program that's consistently good. That's not saying every year you're going to win the league, but every year, when teams see Samford on their schedule, they're going to know that's not a easy out right there. They're going to know that's going to be a war. And just as we respect those guys, I guarantee you, Chattanooga, when they walked through that, got done with that game, they crossed the finish line. It wasn't, well, that was a nice little jog. They knew what it was, right? They were holding their hands up. They knew it was a war. There's so much mutual respect both ways. And that's what we're going to be. And I told our guys before the game started, win, lose, or draw in the game, like, we're going to attack, we're going to disrupt, we're going to be us, and we're going to live with it. And I told them earlier today, this is a game that we could lose. You know, it's a game we can lose. And we got to come to terms that that's a possibility. So don't play not to lose. Play to win. And whatever happens, happens. And we'll look them in the eye after the game if it's not good enough. And we'll shake them in the hand and say, good luck the rest of the way. And, you know, I know if there's no scoreboard right there, if there's no scoreboard, no one knows the score. Both teams walk away from that game feeling like, man, we battled. That was a war. And what a treat for the fans in the SoCon, right? I mean, what a treat for the fans, you know, just getting to watch that. Like, hadn't been a ton of close games today, this tournament, right? But those are two great teams battling each other and with great playmaking and a lot of heart in that game.
One last one, Gene.
Wasn't going to say anything, but you kind of opened the door when you talked about the competitive nature of the game and the respect that was had. You know, Logan, you talked about the battle you had with Jake, and sometimes it's good to hear this. He actually spoke on how you battled through the injury on like the second play of the game, and he just gave respect to the fact that you were a true competitor, and I think that probably seems like it speaks for Samford as a whole.
It wasn't really something to answer.
Yeah.
I think he just wanted you to know that it was mutual.
yeah.
Jake said the same things about you.
Yeah. I'm with you.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate y'all's time.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Congratulations on a great year.